The world was silent. The great cities of Earth were gone. Towers that once touched the sky now stood broken, covered in dust and vines. Streets were empty. The oceans were dark. Humanity was no more. Only ruins and shadows remained. Far below, the ruined ground in a secret vault machine still worked. Old lights blinked in the dark. Strange wires moved like tired veins. Most of the cryopods were broken, cracked, and empty. The last humans who once slept inside were long gone. But one pod still glowed. Its glass was covered in dust, but inside, a faint shadow rested. A human boy frozen in deep sleep. His chest moved slowly, his face calm as if dreaming. He was the last human alive, and he was not alone. She entered the vault in silence. Her steps made no sound. The air around her shimmered faintly. Her skin was pale silver, glowing softly under the broken lights. Her hair floated like threads of white fire, and her eyes shone with a strange blue light. She was not human. She was an alien girl. Her gaze moved over the broken pods. She touched them with her hand, and her fingers glowed. Each time she saw an empty one, her face grew heavy with sadness. She had traveled far, across stars, searching for this place, and then she saw it, the pod still alive, the human boy inside. She walked closer, slowly, as if afraid the dream might break. She placed her hand on the dusty glass. The human's face was peaceful, eyes closed, lips slightly parted. She felt her chest tighten. For years she had studied humans. She had read their stories, seen their rise, and then their fall. She knew how they fought wars, how they loved, how they dreamed. They were gone now. All of them. Except him. The girl whispered, her voice soft but filled with emotion. You are the last one. The machines around the pod flickered. Warning lights blinked weakly. The pod's power was failing. He would not survive much longer. The alien girl's hand glowed, brighter. She pressed it against the control panel. Strange symbols appeared, changing as her energy entered the machine. She was using her power to keep the pod alive. Her mind raced. She knew the danger. If anyone else found out she had saved a human, it would mean trouble. Many alien races wanted humans gone forever. To them, humans were dangerous, unpredictable, too wild to return, but she did not care. Her eyes returned to the boy's sleeping face. He was fragile, weak, yet something about him drew her in. Perhaps it was because he carried the weight of an entire world. Or maybe, deep in her heart, she simply did not want to be alone anymore. The silence of the vault pressed in on her. She felt it like a heavy blanket. This place was a grave, and yet, here in front of her, was life. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed. Through the dark, the girl froze. Her glowing eyes scanned the shadows. Something was moving above, metal shifting, a scanner's beep. She knew she had little time. Drones could be watching. If they detected the human, they would destroy him without mercy. She pressed both hands to the control panel. Her power surged. The pod's lights glowed brighter, machines humming louder than before. The boy's chest rose and fell faster. Breath, coming stronger. "Wake up," she whispered. "Please, wake up." For a moment, nothing happened. The boy remained still, trapped in his frozen dream. Then, his fingers twitched. Her eyes widened. The boy's eyes moved beneath his eyelids. His chest lifted sharply, air rushing in as if he had been drowning for centuries. The glass of the pod began to open with a hiss of steam. The alien girl stepped back, her heart racing. She had seen many things in her life, but never a living human. Not like this. The boy gasped, coughing, eyes opening slowly. They were not glowing like hers. They were deep human eyes, confused, afraid, searching. The first thing he saw was her. He stared at the alien girl, breath shaking. His voice was weak, broken from centuries of silence. Who are you?" She said nothing at first. Her blue eyes met his, holding the weight of galaxies. Finally, she whispered, "I am the one who saved you." The boy tried to sit up, his body trembling. He looked around the vault, at the broken pods, at the empty silence. Fear and sadness filled his eyes. He tried to speak, but his words failed. The alien girl lowered her head slightly. "Your world is gone," she said softly. "But you are not." The boy's eyes widened. His lips parted in disbelief. "Gone? Everyone?" She did not answer with words. She only looked at him with eyes that carried sorrow. The silence grew heavy between them. The boy's breath came faster, panic rising. He tried to stand, but his legs gave out. The girl caught him gently, holding him with strength and care. Her touch was strange, warm and cold at once, like light and shadow. He looked at her closely now. She was unlike anything he had ever seen, yet there was no fear in her gaze. Only care. His voice cracked as he asked, Why me?" The alien girl held him steady, her glowing hair brushing his face. "Because," she whispered, "you are the last human, and I will not let you die." The boy's chest rose and fell as if he had been drowning for 1,000 years. Each breath was heavy, shaky, almost painful. Steam curled from the cryopod, filling the vault like a ghostly mist. His eyes opened wider. He blinked fast, trying to make sense of what he saw. Above him, broken lights flickered. Beside him stood the alien girl, her silver skin glowing faintly, her blue eyes fixed on him with both fear and hope. He coughed, his voice dry and weak. "Where am I?" His words echoed in the dead chamber. The alien girl's gaze softened. She stepped closer, helping him sit upright. His body trembled like fragile glass, every muscle stiff from centuries of frozen sleep. "You are safe. For now," she whispered. Her voice was soft, like music in the silence. The boy tried to stand, but his legs failed. He almost collapsed, but she caught him again, her hand strong and steady. He looked at her properly now. Her face was sharp yet gentle, her glowing hair moving like threads of light. She looked so different, so strange, and yet her eyes were not cruel. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice almost breaking. She did not answer at once. For a moment she only looked at him, as if studying every detail of the last human alive. Then she said, "I am not of your world, but I am the one who brought you back." The boy's eyes darted around. He saw the empty pods, all broken, all silent. His breathing grew quicker. "Where is everyone else, my family, my people?" The alien girl lowered her eyes. Her answer was heavy, filled with sorrow. "They are gone. Your world ended. You are the last." The words struck him like blades. He shook his head. No, that's not possible. There were billions. There must be someone." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "I searched, for years. For light, for sound, for any trace. There is nothing left. Only you." His chest ached. The truth sank into him like cold water. His people were gone. His entire race was nothing but memory, and he was standing alone at the edge of extinction. But even in his despair, one thought burned. "Why?" His voice trembled. "Why did you save me?" The alien girl paused. She could have said many things. She could have spoken about science or about orders or about chance, but instead she told him the truth. "I watched your kind from far away. I read your stories, your history. You were fierce and flawed, but you were also brave. You dreamed when no one else dared to dream. I did not want humanity to vanish into silence." Her voice grew softer. "I did not want to be too late." The boy stared at her, lost between grief and confusion. He could not understand why an alien, someone not of Earth, would care about him, a single human with nothing left. He opened his mouth to ask more, but then a sudden sound cut the air. Faint metallic click, then another. The alien girl's eyes widened. She pulled the boy closer, her body tense. "They've found us," she whispered. The boy frowned. "Who?" Before she could answer, the vault lights flashed red. A harsh alarm screamed, echoing through the underground chamber. Machines sparked, warning symbols flashing on broken screens. From the ceiling, black drones dropped like metal insects. Their red eyes glowed, scanning the chamber. Their weapons unfolded with a hiss. The alien girl pushed the boy behind her. Her blue eyes blazed with light. "They know a human lives. They will not allow it." The drones moved fast, locking onto the boy's weak figure. One of them fired. A searing bolt cut through the air, exploding against the wall. Dust and smoke filled the chamber. The boy fell back, fear burning in his chest. He was too weak to fight. He could barely stand. The alien girl raised her hand. Energy flared from her palm, a shield of glowing light. The next blast struck it and scattered like sparks in a storm. She stepped forward, her voice sharp and fierce. "You will not take him." Her other hand lit with power. A beam of light shot out, cutting through the first drone. It cracked apart, crashing into the ground in flames. The boy watched in shock. She fought like no warrior he had ever seen. Her movements were swift, her power strong, but her eyes never left him. She was not fighting for herself. She was fighting for him. More drones dropped from above. She struck them one by one, but her face tightened. She could not hold them forever. "Run!" she shouted. "We must escape." The boy shook his head weakly. "I can't. My body." She rushed to him, grabbing his arm. "Then I will carry you." With sudden strength, she lifted him as if he weighed nothing. Her glowing hair flared as she leapt toward the broken exit, dodging blasts of red fire. Behind them, the vault shook with explosions. The last cryopods shattered into pieces, erasing what little remained of his people. The boy turned his head, watching them fall into ruin. It felt like watching his world die all over again. Tears burned in his eyes. But the alien girl did not stop. She moved like lightning through the tunnels, holding him close, protecting him from every strike. Her voice was steady, fierce against the chaos. "You are not alone. Not anymore." The boy looked up at her glowing face, at the fire in her eyes. Despite the fear, despite the pain, he felt something inside him. A spark. For the first time since waking, he believed her. The tunnels stretched into darkness. Broken pipes hung from the ceiling, dripping water that echoed like a heartbeat. The alien girl ran with speed, carrying the boy in her arms. Her glowing hair lit the path, while behind them the sound of metal drones faded into silence. At last, she reached a hidden passage and stepped inside. The door closed with a heavy clang, locking them away from the ruins above. She lowered the boy gently to the floor. His breaths were fast, his body weak, but his eyes were awake, sharp with fear. "And questions, what were those things?" he asked, his voice shaking. The alien girl's expression was grave. "Hunters, machines made long ago. They search for survivors, especially humans." The boy's eyes widened. "Why? Why me? Why do they want to kill me?" Her gaze lingered, on him, and for a long moment she did not answer. Then, with a heavy sigh, she spoke the truth he was not ready to hear. "Your world did not die by accident," she said softly. "It was destroyed." The boy's heart froze. He stared at her, not believing. "Destroyed by who?" She sat down across from him, her glowing eyes dimming with sadness. "By your own kind first. Wars, fire, poisoned air, disease that spread faster than life itself. Your people fought each other until there was little left. But even then, it was not the end." Her voice grew sharper. "Other races saw your weakness. They feared humanity's return. They feared what you might become if you rose again. So they made sure Earth would fall completely." The boy's throat tightened. His mind spun with her words. "You mean, they killed us all?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, to them humanity was dangerous. Too wild, too proud, too full of fire. They believed if even one of you survived, you would rise again and bring chaos to the stars." He shook his head in disbelief. That's That's madness. We were just people. We were trying to live. Her eyes softened. And yet, in living, you frightened them. You burned too brightly. The boy pressed his trembling hands to his face. He could not breathe. He had thought he was waking into a nightmare, but this truth was worse. His people had not only died, they had been erased. His voice broke. So, I'm the last because they made sure of it? The alien girl reached out, placing her hand on his shoulder. Her touch was steady, grounding him against the storm inside. Yes, she whispered. You are the last, and that is why you must be hidden. If they learn you still breathe, they will come again. The boy lowered his hands slowly. His eyes were red, but behind the tears there was a spark of anger. Then why did you save me? He asked, his voice heavy. If everyone else believed we should die, why didn't you? For the first time her expression softened into something almost human. I studied your people, she said. Not just your wars, not just your mistakes. I saw your art, your music, the way you loved, even when there was no hope. The way you stood against impossible odds. She leaned closer, her voice trembling like a secret. Your kind was not perfect, but you were beautiful. You were alive in ways others could not understand. And I could not let that vanish forever. The boy stared at her, breath uneven. He saw the glow in her eyes. Not just alien light, but emotion. She truly believed what she said. He wanted to speak, but the words would not come. A low hum filled the tunnel. The alien girl's head snapped up, her senses sharp. They are still searching, she said quickly. We cannot stay here. She helped the boy to his feet, supporting his weight. He stumbled but tried to walk. Each step was heavy, his body weak, but something in her words had given him strength. As they moved through the tunnel, the boy whispered, If they hate humans so much, what will they do if they find me? Her voice was grim. They will not let you live long enough to ask questions. To them, even one human is too many. The boy swallowed hard. Fear coiled inside him, but alongside it, another feeling began to grow. Defiance. At the end of the tunnel, they reached a heavy door. The alien girl pressed her glowing hand to the lock and it opened with a hiss. Beyond was a vast chamber hidden deep underground. Strange machines hummed quietly, still alive after centuries. In the center stood a sleek craft, small but strong, built for escape. The boy stared at it with wide eyes. Is that yours? She nodded. It will take us away from here, away from Earth. But once we leave, the hunt will only grow. He turned his head back to the ruined tunnels behind them. For the first time, he understood the weight on his shoulders. He was not just a survivor. He was the last memory of a lost world, and now others wanted him gone. As they stepped toward the ship, the boy asked one last question, his voice low but filled with dread. If I am the last, what happens if they catch me? The alien girl stopped. She turned, her glowing hair moving like fire in the dim light. Her eyes locked with his, fierce and unshaken. Then humanity dies forever, she said. Silence filled the chamber. Boy's breath caught. The truth was heavier than he could bear, yet in her words there was also a spark. Something more than fear. Hope. Because as long as she stood beside him, he was not truly alone. The hidden chamber shook with distant echoes. Somewhere above, the machines searched. Their metal voices called out in sharp beeps, their red light scanning through dust and stone. The boy leaned against the alien girl, his body still weak, his breaths shallow. He stared at the sleek ship in the center of the room. Its black surface shimmered faintly, curved like the wing of a great bird. That ship, it can really fly? He asked, his voice thin. The alien girl nodded once. It has waited here for years. It is old, but strong. It will carry us beyond Earth. She touched the side of the craft. Symbols glowed, spreading like living veins. Across the surface, the ship came alive with a deep hum shaking the ground. Lights flickered on inside and the door slid open. "Come," she said quickly. "We must leave before the hunters find the gate." The boy tried to step forward, but his knees buckled. He caught himself against the wall, frustration burning in his chest. "I can't, I'm slowing you down." The alien girl caught his arm, steadying him. Her blue eyes burned. "You are the last human. You are not a burden." He looked at her, trembling. "Then why does it feel like I'll break any second?" She leaned closer, her voice firm. "Because you were never meant to wake in this time. Your body is weak, but your spirit..." Her eyes searched his. "Your spirit is stronger than you know." The ground suddenly shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. The boy's eyes widened. What was that? The alien girl's face darkened. "They found us." From the tunnel behind them came the metallic buzz of drones. Red lights pierced the darkness. Dozens of machines rolled and flew forward, weapons glowing. The boy froze in terror. "There are too many." She cut him off. "No choice. We fight or we die." The first drone fired. A bolt of red energy screamed across the chamber. The alien girl threw up her glowing hand. A shield of blue light flared, catching the blast. Sparks burst across the floor. She spun and fired back, beams of silver energy lashing out. 2 drones exploded in bursts of smoke and flame, but more poured through the tunnel, their shrieks echoing like a swarm. The boy stumbled back, pressing against the wall. His heart pounded. He had no weapon, no strength. He was only a target. "Go!" the alien girl shouted. Into the ship, he forced himself to move, dragging his heavy body up the ship's ramp. The metal was cold under his hands as he pulled himself inside. He collapsed in the narrow corridor, chest heaving, eyes wide. From outside came the thunder of battle. Her voice shouting, weapons firing, drones exploding. He crawled to the window. Through the glass he saw her, glowing hair flying, blue eyes blazing like fire. She moved like lightning, her shield flashing, her strikes cutting through machines. For the first time, the boy realized something terrifying. She was risking everything. Not for herself, but for him. Another explosion shook the chamber. The ship trembled as debris struck its side. Warning lights flickered on the walls. "Come on," the boy whispered to himself. "Come on." At last, she appeared in the doorway, her face tense, her arms still glowing. She rushed inside, slamming her hand against the panel. The door sealed shut. The ship roared to life, engines burning with silver fire. The ground split as the craft lifted, dust and broken stones scattering in all directions. The boy clung to the seat as the alien girl jumped into the pilot's chair. Her hands danced across glowing controls. "Hold on," she said. The chamber roof tore open as the ship blasted upward. Drones fired from below, but the engines burned brighter, faster. The craft shot through stone and steel, breaking into the open night sky. The boy gasped as he saw Earth for the first time since waking. The land was dark, broken, covered in scars. Forests had swallowed old cities. Oceans shimmered black under a poisoned moon. It was not the world he remembered. It was a grave, he whispered. This was Earth? The alien girl's face was unreadable. It was. Now it is only silence. But there was no time to mourn. Behind them, more drones rose from hidden hives, their red eyes blazing, their engines shrieking. They swarmed like hornets, chasing the ship through the sky. Alarms screamed inside the cockpit. The boy gripped the seat, fear gripping his chest. "They're gaining on us." The alien girl's hands moved fast, guiding the ship through broken towers and shattered bridges. Laser fire ripped through the air, explosions lighting the ruins below. She turned her head slightly, her voice calm but fierce. "I will not let them take you." The ship dived low, racing through the skeleton of a ruined city. Drones smashed against buildings trying to follow, but more poured in from the horizon. The boy forced himself to think. His body was weak, but his mind was alive. His eyes scanned the panels in front of him, strange symbols glowing. There, he pointed with a trembling hand. That vent. If you fly through, maybe we can lose them. The alien girl glanced at him. Surprise flickered in her eyes. Then she nodded. Hold tight. She banked the ship hard. The craft tilted sideways, sliding into a narrow canyon of metal and stone. Drones screamed as they tried to follow, smashing against walls, exploding in showers of flame. The boy's chest tightened. But for the first time since waking, he felt more than fear. He felt alive. At last, the ship burst free of the ruins, engines blazing toward the stars. The last of the drones fell behind, their weapons fading into silence. The boy slumped in his seat, gasping. His heart pounded, but his eyes were bright. He turned to her. We made it? The alien girl did not smile. Her gaze was sharp, fixed on the horizon of space. For now. But they will not stop. They will follow us beyond this world. The boy swallowed hard. The truth of it weighed heavy. Yet as he looked at her glowing face, fierce and unyielding, something inside him changed. He was not just running anymore. He was fighting to live. The ship drifted through the black sky of space. Behind them, Earth grew smaller, a dying world fading into shadow. Ahead, endless stars stretched in silence. Inside, the hum of engines filled the cabin. Flickering lights glowed across the panels. The boy sat slumped in the seat, his chest rising and falling in uneven breaths. Sweat covered his forehead. His body still fought against the weight of centuries in cryo-sleep. The alien girl moved quietly around him. She checked the ship's systems, touched glowing symbols, and adjusted controls, yet her eyes returned to him again and again. Finally, he broke the silence. His voice was tired but steady. You saved me. Again. She glanced at him, her glowing hair floating softly in the air. It was necessary. He gave a weak laugh. Necessary for who? Me? Or you? Her blue eyes lingered on him. Both. The boy looked out through the window. Stars glittered like diamonds, cold and far. His voice grew heavier. I don't understand. I was nothing. Just one man in... But why would you risk so much for me? The alien girl hesitated. Her hands froze above the panel. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she turned slowly toward him. I watched your kind from far away. She said softly. I saw the way humans lived, how you loved, how you dreamed, how you fought for things greater than yourselves, even in your worst moments. There was something in you I could not look away from. The boy frowned, his eyes searching hers. But if everyone else saw us as dangerous, why didn't you? Her gaze softened. Because danger and beauty can live in the same heart. Silence filled the cabin. He looked down at his hands, pale and trembling. I don't even know who I am anymore. My family, my people, all gone. What's left of me now? She stepped closer, kneeling beside his seat. Her glowing hand rested gently over his. You are the last voice of your world. That alone makes you more important than you believe. His eyes watered, but he blinked the tears away. He did not want to cry in front of her. Yet something inside him shifted. A weight, heavy but alive. The ship shuddered suddenly. Warning. Lights blinked across the panels. The boy tensed. Are they following us again? The alien girl shook her head, pressing her hand to the screen. Strange shapes appeared, dark clouds of energy swirling ahead. No. This is different. Space storms. The boy leaned forward, watching the storm twist like black fire in the void. Can we pass through it? She nodded, though her face was grim. Yes, but it will test the ship. And us. The storm struck like thunder. Lightning of strange colors flashed outside the windows. The ship rocked violently, alarms screaming. The boy gripped the chair, his heart racing. We're going to... break apart. The alien girl's hands glowed as she touched the controls, her voice calm. Hold steady, trust me. The ship shook harder. Panels sparked. Metal groaned. The boy looked at her, and for a moment his fear lessened. She was focused, unshaken, her blue eyes burning like stars. He realized then. He did trust her, more than he thought possible. Finally, the storm thinned. The ship burst through the other side, into calm space once more. Silence returned, broken only by the hum of engines. The boy exhaled, shoulders slumping. "We made it." She gave a small nod. "Yes." For the first time since waking, he smiled faintly. "You're not just saving me. You're teaching me how to live again." Her head tilted slightly. "And you are teaching me what it means to protect someone, not because of duty but because of choice." Their eyes met. The boy felt his chest tighten, but not with fear, with something new, something dangerous in its own way. He whispered, "I don't even know your name." She paused. Then, almost shyly, she said, "Liara." He repeated it softly. "Liara." The name felt like light on his tongue. Silence stretched between them, but it was not empty now. It was warm, fragile, alive. Liara stood and returned to the controls, though her movements were slower, as if part of her did not want to turn away. The boy leaned back, his body weak, but his mind awake in a way it had not been before. He whispered to himself, "Maybe I'm not as alone as I thought." But before comfort could settle, a sharp beep filled the cabin. Liara's head snapped toward the panel. Her face darkened. "What is it?" the boy asked quickly. Her voice was cold, steady. "They found us." On the screen, red lights appeared. In the distance, enemy ships, faster, larger, closing in. The boy's heart sank. "So it never ends?" Liara looked at him, her eyes fierce. "It will end when we decide it ends. Together." The blackness of space was no longer silent. Red lights flared behind them, spreading like burning stars. Enemy ships were coming fast, their engines howling like hungry beasts. Inside the small craft, alarms screamed. The panels flashed red warnings again and again. The boy gripped the armrest, his heart racing. "There are too many. Liara, we can't outrun them." Liara's eyes narrowed, her hands glowing as they moved across the controls. "Then we fight." Her voice was calm, but the fire in her gaze betrayed her. She knew what was coming. The first blast struck. A spear of red energy ripped past the ship, shaking it violently. The boy was thrown against his seat. Sparks showered from the ceiling. "Shields are weakening," Liara muttered. Another strike hit. The ship groaned like a wounded animal. The boy's voice cracked. "They'll tear us apart." Liara's hair flared with light. "Not if I tear them apart first." She pressed her palm to the console. Energy surged through the ship. Silver. Beams erupted from its sides, cutting into the nearest enemy fighter. The alien vessel exploded into shards, fire scattering across the void. The boy's eyes widened. "You turned the ship into a weapon?" Liara's lips curved in a fierce smile. "This craft was built for survival, and I will use everything it has." But for every enemy she destroyed, two more appeared. Their swarm grew, surrounding them from all sides. The boy's chest tightened. "We can't win like this, they'll trap us." Liara's eyes stayed sharp. "Then we do not fight like them. We fight like humans." Her words shocked him. "Like humans? What do you mean?" "You adapt," she said quickly. "You think you survive when no one else can. Show me how." The boy froze, his mind racing. He looked at the panels, at the glowing symbols he barely understood. His body was weak, but his mind was alive. Then he saw it. Strange numbers flashing on one side of the screen. A fuel line for the engines, unstable from the storm they had passed. "Liara," he shouted. "The engines. If we vent the fuel, it'll ignite in their fire." She glanced at him, eyes wide, then she smiled. "A trap." Enemy ships closed in, preparing for the final strike. Their weapons glowed brighter. "Do it," she said. The boy's hand trembled, but he forced himself forward. He pressed the glowing symbol. The ship shuddered as vents opened, releasing streams of shimmering fuel into space. The swarm drew closer, chasing without caution. "Now!" he yelled. Liara slammed her hand on the console. The ship spun sharply, her energy firing into the fuel. The void lit up in a storm of fire. The explosion ripped through the swarm. Enemy ships shattered, their metal bodies consumed in a burning wave. Shockwaves shook the small craft, tossing it like a leaf in a storm. The boy was thrown forward, nearly falling, but Liara caught him, holding him steady with one arm while keeping her hand on the controls. When the light faded, only wreckage remained. Pieces of broken ships floated silently in the black void. The boy gasped, chest heaving. We did it." Liara's breathing was heavy, her glow dimming, but her eyes shone with pride. Yes, together. But victory did not come without. Cost warning alarms blared louder. Smoke filled the cabin. The ship's engines sputtered, lights flickering. The explosion had damaged them too. The boy looked around in panic. "We're losing power." Liara's voice was calm, but her face was pale. "The engines are failing, we may not make it far." He grabbed her arm. "After all that, after everything, we can't just die here." Her blue eyes met his. For the first time, there was softness, not fire. "If I had to fall, this would be enough." His heart clenched. "No, don't you dare say that." She smiled faintly. "You are more human than I imagined. Even at the edge of death, you refuse to surrender." He held her hand tightly. "And you're not human, but you're more like us than anyone I've ever known." For a moment, the universe was silent between them. No fire, no alarms. Just two lives, bound together in the emptiness of space. Then the ship jolted. A spark burst from the engine. The boy looked at her desperately. "Tell me there's something left, some way out." Liara's eyes narrowed again, fire returning. "There is always a way." She poured the last of her energy into the ship. Her hands glowed bright, her hair burning like silver flame. The Pue panels lit one by one, the engine struggling but alive. The boy clung to her hand, whispering through clenched teeth. "You're not alone, not anymore." The ship surged forward, limping but moving, breaking free of the wreckage. Behind them, the swarm was gone. Ahead, the stars stretched open, endless and waiting. The boy looked out at them, then back at her glowing face. "We survived the last battle." Liara shook her head softly. "No, we survived the first of many." But her smile, faint and warm, told him something else. They would face the battles together. The ship drifted quietly, wounded but alive. Sparks hissed from broken panels, and the engines hummed weakly, like a tired heartbeat. Outside, space stretched forever, dark, endless, beautiful. The boy sat in silence, his body weak, his chest still rising fast from the battle. He stared out the window at the wreckage of the enemy ships floating behind them. For the first time since he had awakened, the silence did not feel empty. Beside him, Liara sat in the pilot's chair, her glowing hair dimmed, her skin pale from the power she had spent, yet her blue eyes still burned with quiet strength. He turned to her, his voice low. "You saved me, again." Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "And you saved me too. Without your idea, we would be gone." He shook his head, almost laughing. "I thought humans were the ones who needed saving." Her eyes softened. "Sometimes even saviors need saving." The silence between them grew warm. The boy studied her face, the sharp lines of her alien features, the light in her eyes. She was nothing like the people he remembered. Yet in her presence he felt something familiar, something human. Finally, he asked the question that had lived in his heart since the moment he woke. "Why me, Liara? Out of everyone who could have been saved, why did you choose me?" She looked at him for a long time. Her voice, when it came, was soft but steady. "Because when I found you, you were still breathing, and in that breath I saw the spark of all humanity. If even one could survive, Then hope would survive with you. He blinked hard, his throat tight. Hope? For what? Humanity's gone. I'm just a shadow of a dead world. She shook her head. Her hand reached for his, glowing faintly as her fingers touched his trembling ones. You are not a shadow. You are a beginning. His heart beat faster at her words. He looked down at their hands, his pale, fragile human hand resting against hers, silver and glowing. The contrast was sharp, but somehow it felt right. Liara, he whispered, you could have left me, you could have let me sleep forever. Her eyes deepened. I could have, but I didn't want to. Not because you are the last of your kind, but because I didn't want to be alone anymore. The words struck him harder than any explosion. He saw it in her eyes. The loneliness she carried across stars, the weight of watching humanity vanish, the choice to carry him into life again. He swallowed, his voice shaking. Then maybe. Neither of us has to be alone now. The ship drifted toward the horizon of stars. The boy leaned back, breathing slowly. For the first time, he allowed himself to feel it. Hope. He thought of Earth, broken and silent behind. Them. His people were gone, their voices lost to time. But maybe their story wasn't finished. Maybe it was beginning again, in him, and in her. Suddenly, the ship's panels flickered. A low hum filled the cabin. Liara's eyes narrowed. What is it? The boy asked quickly. She studied the glowing screen. Strange signals pulsed across it, waves of energy reaching from a distant point in space. It is a beacon, she whispered. The boy leaned closer. A signal? From who? Her voice was careful. Not hunters, something else, something old. It could be danger, or... Her gaze turned to him. It could be a path. The boy stared at the glowing symbols. His heart pounded with both fear and excitement. A path. A chance. He looked at her, his voice firmer than before. Then we follow it. Whatever it is, we can't stay drifting here. If I'm the last human, then I can't just hide. I have to see what's out there. Liara's eyes softened with pride. Spoken like your kind, always searching, always daring. He gave a small smile. Maybe that's why we scared the others so much. Maybe, she said, and for the first time she laughed softly. It was a sound both strange and beautiful, like a melody of light. The boy leaned closer, his voice almost a whisper. Liara, if I really am the last, then everything I am, everything humanity was, ends with me. Her hand tightened around his. Not if it continues with us. His breath caught. Their eyes locked, the distance between them shrinking. In that moment, in the silence of broken stars, something more powerful than fear grew between them. Not just survival, not just hope, but love. The ship turned slowly toward the beacon. Its engines flared, carrying them forward into the unknown. Boy looked at Liara one last time, his voice steady now. You gave me a reason to live. Maybe together, we can give humanity a reason to begin again. She smiled, her blue eyes glowing softly. Then let us write the next story. Hand in hand, they faced the stars, the last human, the alien who saved him, and the beginning of something new.